The murder of Edward Deegan resulted in one of the most disturbing examples of wrongful convictions in American legal history. This case became a landmark example of government corruption and the misuse of the justice system. This is the story of 4 men unjustly framed for murder by the FBI. Edward Teddy Deegan was a small-time criminal with connections to the Bonanno crime family. On March 12, 1965, Deegan was shot and killed in an alley in Chelsea, Massachusetts. The murder was attributed to a mob hit, and the Boston underworld quickly became the focus of the investigation. What followed, however, was a tangled web of lies, conspiracies, and manipulation that led to the wrongful imprisonment of 4 men: Joseph Salvati, Peter Limone, Henry Tamilio, and Louis Greco. The pivotal figure in this wrongful conviction was Joseph the Animal Barboza, a notorious hitman for the Patriarca crime family. Barboza had a reputation for violence and a long list of criminal activities, but he had become a key informant for the FBI. Agents with close ties to Barboza viewed him as a valuable asset in taking down organized crime figures in Boston. However, in an exchange for his cooperation, Barboza sought immunity and protection for his own crimes, including his involvement in the Deegan murder. Barboza falsely implicated Salvati, Limone, Tamilio, and Greco in the murder. He claimed that they were part of a conspiracy to kill Deegan, with Henry Tamilio, a reputed member of the Patriarca crime family, having ordered the hit. Barboza's testimony was riddled with inconsistencies and contradictions, but it was enough to sway the jury. He presented himself as a reliable witness and offered details about the crime. However, his version of events conflicted with physical evidence and other testimonies. Despite the weak case, all 4 men were convicted in 1968. Peter Limone and Louis Greco were sentenced to death. Their sentences were later commuted to life imprisonment after the death penalty was abolished in Massachusetts, while Joseph Salvati and Henry Tamilio received life sentences. The conviction of these 4 men is now widely regarded as a result of gross misconduct and corruption by FBI agents, who were more interested in protecting their informants than in finding justice. Years later, declassified FBI documents would show that the Bureau knew Barboza had lied on the stand, and that he had conspired with other criminals to frame the men. FBI agents withheld critical evidence that could have exonerated the men, including memos that revealed Barboza's unreliability as a witness, and information implicating other individuals in the Deegan murder. Rather than disclose this evidence, the FBI chose to remain silent in order to protect Barboza, who they viewed as crucial in their war against organized crime. On July 28, 1970, Barboza had signed an affidavit stating that the 4 men were not involved in the murder. And on April 9, 1976, Barboza's lawyer signed an affidavit stating that Barboza had admitted to giving false testimony, yet this information was withheld by the FBI. This deliberate concealment of evidence allowed the wrongful convictions to stand for decades. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover not only knew about the case, but had supported the plan to frame the men in order to protect their informant. For years, the families of the wrongfully convicted men fought to prove their innocence. Limone's lawyer, Victor Garro, tirelessly pursued the truth. He uncovered FBI files that had been withheld from the defense. These files contained evidence that contradicted Barboza's testimony and pointed to the real perpetrators of the crime. In 2000, after spending more than 3 decades behind bars, Peter Limone was finally exonerated. A Massachusetts judge vacated the convictions of all 4 men, acknowledging the massive miscarriage of justice. Joseph Salvati, who had spent 30 years in prison, was also exonerated. Tragically, Henry Tamilio died in prison in 1985, after serving 17 years in prison. Louis Greco, who was awarded 2 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart in World War II, also died in prison in 1995, after serving 27 years in prison. The wrongful convictions led to one of the largest civil judgments against the government in U.S. history. In 2007, the families of the 4 men were awarded a total of $101.7 million in damages. The court found that the FBI was responsible for the wrongful imprisonment due to its intentional misconduct, including the withholding of exculpatory evidence and the use of perjured testimony. Judge Nancy Gertner said, "The FBI's misconduct was clearly the sole cause of this conviction." This case also raised serious questions about the FBI's use of informants and the lack of accountability within the agency. Several FBI agents involved in the case were found to have acted unethically, but none were criminally prosecuted. The four men lost decades of their lives due to the misconduct of law enforcement and the failure of the justice system. This case underscores the necessity of judicial integrity and vigilance in ensuring that justice is served, not manipulated. The case serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked governmental power. It would be naive to think that this was the first or last time that government agents committed a serious crime to advance a specific agenda. It proves that the official story may not always be the truth. It may, in fact, be a lie, a cover-up, an intentional manipulation designed to influence events and benefit those in power.